Hello again. I am completely blown out today. I don't know. I have to do something about the lighting setup. If you want to see my face, that is. Let's get on with this weird little language called SIG. And the plan was to ditch this project and try to actually make a tool that can be used for something useful. So I want to do a Base64 encoder, and I have no idea how to, I do have some ideas how to implement it, but let's Google. Even though it's DuckDuckGo, we still call it Google it. Base64 encoding. And let's see how it's done. I took a preview, small look at it yesterday, and the one thing that tells the story is, of course, the 64 characters that we use for the Base64 encoding. And then we have this. This actually tells most of the story. Every time you have 3 bytes, you can encode it into 4 64-based characters, as each of them is 6 characters: 6, 12, 18, and 24. 8, 16, 24. So that kind of shows that each takes 6 bytes and encodes them. But this is the second part of it, is the padding, because if we end the information early, the rest is just padded with zeros, and yeah, that's kind of it. But apparently you always have these sections of 4 Base64 characters. I'm not sure why that's needed. If you just ended it here, why would you need those 2 paddings? You would still be able to decode it, but yeah. So that's kind of it. We would need to be able to open a file, read the binary, read it as a binary, and encode it like this. So I think we would need some AND to mask out the 6 bits, and then maybe do some shifting, bit shifting. I don't know if you can shift from one byte into another, but I guess you can. We could on the Commodore 64, so why not? So it has a carry, you can shift it over into the next byte. So yeah, let's create a new project. Projects. We can just do that from the terminal here, right? First project, let's go out of that one. Base64 projects. And then it was SIG init, right? Yes. Then we have everything we need, and we can do a SIG build. And now we have the output as well. And we can run it not as this one, because that doesn't exist anymore. Base64 project. All your base belong to us. So there should now be a new project. But as I know that we're gonna open a file for reading, then why not just grab this already? Yeah, actually we could just take everything we have done already for this test and jump to the Base64 project. And have it in here. Let's just test that it's still working. I don't trust anything here. Yes, not opened for reading. Yeah, that was where we ended up yesterday, right? That we had this deer flags, no follow, what? Where did we define the not open? Oh, this is the directory part. Just have to figure out what I'm doing here. There it is. Read only. We don't need to write that file, but of course we need to save the output, or at least convert it to something readable. Output it to the console or something. Yeah, but to a file would be optimal. So let's see. We'll start out by. Should we just use the debug output for now? I don't know what the difference would be on a production build if all debug output logs will just vanish, or nah, you know what? Let's just keep it. Let's just keep it. Standard out. Yeah, let's call this output buffer or something. Buffer. Output. And again, just, yeah, just want to make sure. Let's just switch back to this one and back to that one. Yeah, I also have to do something about the glare from the screens. I don't see other streamers having this issue, but maybe they do, and I just didn't notice that when you switch to a white screen, your face gets lit up like a, yeah. Nope, we don't want to use any of this. So we can just delete that one. We don't want to iterate over this and output stuff. But one thing we need to be able to read from the arguments. We need to handle arguments. I don't think we've done that before. So how do you read from arguments? Do we have anything here? No. Command line arguments. How to read command line arguments in C. It's a year old, but I don't think that's probably changed that much. Okay, so it's not as a part of the parameters given to the main function as I would expect, because that's what I've been used to. But we can actually access. Wow. So Let's see what's in this. Copy. Let's take a look. We can just print it out using the... Oh, no, that was not what I asked you for. std debug log. No. Print. Okay, it's just a print. Length of args. We don't need to make a variable for that one. So if I build this, length of args 1 byte read from... Oh, we still need new lines, but it says there's one argument, and I guess that is the command itself. So we could output that one as well. For stdos arguments, can we just index into those? And use the value and then, oh, how could we do this? Was it like this? No, it was not. I'm pretty sure we could do a for loop with index, so we could get some information about what index we are at. Back to the manual. Loops, for loops, for loops. Oh, okay, so we need to add that if we want to have that information. And I do like having it start at 0 there and there, and I'm not using it, so it's still a bit not happy about it. Arg number, and then is that the way to do it? Maybe it is. Nope. Something is off. As always, compile time cannot format pointer without a specifier. This is a digit. That was a digit. And this is a string. Yeah, we're starting to get the error information and what is actually missing. So argument 0 is the command itself, including the path. Or is it? No, it's because I include the path itself. Okay, let's add an argument like test.text. And we get it as the second argument. For now, we are not gonna do all kinds of weird stuff with the arguments, that you can add them in different orders and have different sorry. And so on. We just want to be able to give it a file name, and that's kind of it. So we can check as the first thing, we can do a and an error check. If this differs from 2, then this program only the relative path to the file to encode. Yeah, we're only going for encoding for now, just to try it out. And the relative path, so I would like to get the current path from the system and then add the relative part to that. Because if we demand that they write the full path, that would just annoy. That would just be annoying. So we try to run this. What? Now what? Unsigned 8. Okay. Fair enough. Let's call it 100. Args equals 2. So that's okay. If we add something more, it will break. And if 1, yes. So that works as intended. Arg length check. Now we have the argument we would really much like to have. Current path. And once again, I guess that it's in the standard library and operating systems and something get. The function is very host specific and it's not universally supported on all hosts. Then it's not that. Get, no. File system, path, no. Self-exe path, that sounds more like get the path to the current executable. Yes, please. If you only need the directory, use path. Oh, I do. Self-exe dir path. Self-exe dir path. And again, we will need a buffer for that. What? No. It's an input. What we need. What does it need? Get the directory path that contains the current executable. Return values is a slice of out buffer. So we do need a buffer for what? Kind of confused. I just want it to return. Why does it need a buffer? Is it to do some internal handling? Might be. This was what we worked on yesterday. So if we get to this point, we couldn't get current path. I think I need to see how to use this because it doesn't really make sense to me. But that might be kind of the way they're handling memory, is that if a function needs some buffer or something, you provide it. I think that might be it. Something as simple as that. Let's see. Yeah, they're just doing a general allocator. So it needs an allocator. General purpose allocators. And a general purpose allocator. Deprecated. To be removed. Yes. So we are gonna use a page allocator because that will give us, I think a page size is 4 kilobytes, and that allows for us to have a really long path to our executable. So I think that would be okay. So it doesn't return anything, or it does return something as well. So does it output it into the buffer, or does it return the information as a current path? It's kind of effing with my mind, this path allocator. And we're just gonna again, naming so we know what's actually going on where. And we call this the path allocator. Path allocator, and we give it like this. So now it says print to standard error silently returning to failure. Intended for use in printf debugging. std log. Okay. Fair enough. Let's try that. What does this say? We're not using that anymore. Then want to try to print out this one. Current path. And remember the new line, right? It's always a good thing to have in there. Of course, we get an error, if not one. Has no member print. So is it just log? I should have been sticking with the other one. Maybe. Yeah, now I messed it up. Type is not a function. Yeah. Let's see. Come on. Don't be annoying. I got butterfingers. Using debug print. No. We did a page allocation before, so I don't see why that's an issue now. Didn't I use a page allocator somewhere? Yeah, right there. Don't trust the internet. No, later. Page allocator. Sorry. It's early. Da, da, da. Page allocator, page allocator. Yeah, we limit it to 2048. That should be also. That should be enough. And for now it will be, I don't know what couldn't get. We can probably get something's too long or couldn't fit in here. What errors can it return? Yeah, name too long. That's probably it. If it can't fit in the buffer provided. But could not get current path. Yeah, for now that'll do. Try to print out the current path. And then we do other stuff. Okay, every time you save it also formats the code and removes extra lines. I like having extra lines between what I've done and what I'm about to do. So this is a bit annoying. But again, having it clean up is nice. Where do I still have file buffer? No. Redeclaration of file buffer. Oh, am I using the same thing down here? Yes, I probably am. Not a file buffer, but path buffer. Still getting errors. Come on, please. Current path. writer. Unused argument in current path. Unused argument. What's it on about? What's it on about? Unused argument. Current path. Oh, God. Again, the error is actually telling me exactly what's going on. I'm just not fully used to the language yet. And we have current path is home streamer learning sig base64 project sig out bean. That is perfect. So we have that. Print current path. We print out all the arguments. No. Then let's make a full path to file. And now we need to concatenate the two strings. And how do we concatenate arrays? I think we could do something like current path I think I saw something about this, but now I'm not sure because again we need to have this allocated somewhere. We'll have to ask because I'm pretty sure that this doesn't have anything about concatenating. Arrays, maybe? No, not really. Yeah, but that is literals, so I don't think that's at compile time, so I don't think we can't use those. Can we do a within past year? A sick cheat sheet. That's always nice. Pointers. Get that one. I got that one. This makes sense. This makes sense. This makes sense. Now it begins to be a bit strange. Yeah. Tagged unions, error unions, optionals, floats, loops, labels, comp time, sentinels. What is that? I don't even remember. identifiers and structs, async, interfaces, memory allocation, formatting, testing, tokenizing, and threading. No. But let's see, can we do something like the current path is that using this buffer? Because if it's using that buffer, we have more space, so we can just add the other one at the end of it. So can we get length of that? Don't think so. Maybe we can. So how do we figure out if current path actually just pointed to the buffer? Can we do something like, can we just try to do this? And see, yeah, it absolutely looks like it. Oh, see, that reveals something. This self-exe directory path looks like it's getting the full, including the file name, but then it sets the length to only be the path, so it just removes back to the first slash, the last slash. So it is the same buffer, it's the same allocation. Now that makes sense. And now I want to see the length, and then path length, current path length, so decimal, that's, and now we want the current path to be a slice of this, and that was something like, and then to path length, right? Fingers crossed. No, it was so close, so close. No field or member function length in the const. Yeah, because it's just a buffer, right? So when I return this one, it not only returns yeah, it is a const u8. So how does it know where to stop when I try to print out that one? What is the type of this one? It's just a const u8. So how does it know? Is it because it's terminated? Because when we printed it out, it didn't look like it was terminated in any way. Because the next part is the... Can we get the address of this so we can see if the address is the same? They could be, it could be using this as a temporary storage, and then this is actually a different array. Or was it the length? It couldn't get the length. So this isn't valid, and it does make sense, right? Can't you get a length of an array? I think you should be able to. Yeah. Path length, 52 characters to bin. So that is good enough. How hard is it to just add two arrays to it after each other? The current length, we print it out. We print out that buffer until that length. And then we're listing out the arguments. But if we now take this path length and says we want from path length and forward, and we are taking not any random, but actually the first, or that will be the second argument, but it's the first command line argument. The program itself is the first one. Yeah. We're talking about arguments, and is the program itself an argument to the command line? Yeah. Let's see. If we now take the first argument, we start a path length, and we say index. Now we need two indices. Maybe we should just start at 0, and then for each of them to the current, no, to the path buffer at location path length plus index equals, and now we need the value. Now I just want to write out the path buffer. Full path. And it's going to be a string. Let's see if that's even allowed. Oh, again, failure. Unbound for loop. Is it unbound? Is it? For each element in this one, that should be bound. That argument that has a length, right? It says that this argument doesn't have an upper bound, but I would absolutely expect it to have an upper bound. That's a bit annoying. Because we can print out this one without any issues, right? We just need to uncomment or comment out that one. Yeah, arg1 test.text. Is that because this is null terminated? So that is possible. So again, can we do something like for 0 to, does it have a len field? Value index, because then we need to do something like a double indexing. Something like this instead. Yeah. Does not support field access. Again, we are stuck at details. But I guess that's just the way it's gonna be. How to get again, I'm asking for length and it's not on the page. It's so annoying. See if it comes up with anything. And once again, we have spam in the chat. And I have no moderators, so I have to do it myself. Let's see. It says that I can get the length. So it is kind of weird why it doesn't accept this. We can try to just use it like this. And see what it says. Nope. It really doesn't like that. You cannot just get the length of that argument. If this is not supported on Windows and WASI, then why are we using it? Args alloc, is that because, again, once again, we need to provide the allocator for it? But for now, we just want it to work on Linux. It's weird that it isn't supported on Windows. Process args alloc instead. I'm just gonna test to see what that does. And again, it returns an array of those. So again, if we can just use that instead and it'll be supported on more systems, then of course we're going to use that one instead. We're still getting the same error, right? Nope. Struct declared here. Path buffer. Doesn't it want an allocator? It wants the allocator itself, it doesn't want the buffer. Okay. So we can just yeah, I know. There's nothing in this anymore. Yeah, it still doesn't like that one. I get it. Stop. Now what? Could you give me a line number or something? Just to allow me to... Or call stack, debug. You know what? We're gonna revert all of this. So our issue right now is that we can't get the length and we can't iterate over the characters of this, because I would just want to take the current path buffer and just add the information to it. So I had the full buffer, the full information in the buffer, and I could take a slice and use that to open the file. This really shows that when you're working alone without any guidance, the learning process just gets so much longer and you will make a lot of mistakes and you will bang your head against problems that are so obvious to other people. But it also makes you think about the problems instead of just getting the answers. Right now, it doesn't make sense to me that I can't get the length. And then again, it does make sense. Because if this is just a U8, array of U8s, then it has a length. But that information isn't necessarily stored with the array. So if this is just a pointer, then it doesn't have more information. But I think that all the U8 arrays has a length built in, right? I want the length. Well, I guess that that'll be it for today. I'm not gonna move any further on this. I'll have to figure out how to manipulate arrays. I thought that we were at a point where it would be not necessarily easy to do a base64 encoding, and I could just skip this part of having the input from the user and just hard code the file location. But then again, it would be more fun to have a working command line tool. This is so annoying. To me, this makes perfect sense. I want to iterate over an index of 0 to the length of the argument. Have an index as well. Path length up here. I could just skip this one completely. This would make so much sense. But it doesn't like it, so that's fair. That is the way it's gonna be, but you should be able to just get the length of an argument. But we are going to just not vibe code, but kind of just give it the error here. It says, say, go fix it. Yeah, exactly. It's an array pointer to U8s, and you can't access the length directly. Instead, you need to convert the argument to a slice to get a length. std mem. Okay. If we can use that one to see the allocated length, then that is an acceptable solution. Current path length. Let's just go with it. Come on. Again, I don't know what I don't know, and that's kind of the issues here, is that I don't know. Where am I using this? Stop it. Actually worked. Let's see. And now we get bin. It ends at bin, exactly as expected. So it's actually working. We just need to add one slash and we have the full path. So we succeeded. These takes a sentinel terminated pointer and iterates over the memory to find the sentinel and determine the length. Pointers are assumed to be non-null and zero terminated. Or null terminated. Zero terminated. Okay, so this sounds like an expensive call as it goes through the entire thing to hit the first zero. I don't like that, but if that's the only way to do it, then that's the only way to do it. So if we start at we're gonna take this path length, take that index and set it equal to slash path length is now equal to one more. Let's see if we get the string that I expect. Now what? What? U8. Do we have to have it not as a string literal, but as a U8? Yes. And let's see if it created the string. And then I don't think that this is an issue because we can do full path and then do the 0 to path length. It's really not optimal to do it this way. Of course, we should just make a variable for that one as well. Yeah, full path. Yes, perfect. So this works, but of course we need to yank this out and just get the length of the argument. We're gonna do that before we sign off today. File name length. Yeah. File name length is equal to that one because we don't want to call that multiple times. That would be complete waste. And we have our full path. So next time we have the full path to the file that we want to load and convert to Base64. It wouldn't surprise me if there in the standard library is something where you can get the full path if you give it a path and a file name, and it will combine it to a valid path, full path. But that is for next time. We're gonna save. This looks like it's working. So as always, this will be uploaded to YouTube where you can comment and hopefully help me understand things better. If you have a better solution for doing this path concatenation, then please share so I can learn. This is a learning experience. It's absolutely not a tutorial. Don't take anything I say as truth, because I do not know. So thank you for watching, and have a nice day. Bye.